Nobody tells you the moment it happens. There is no alarm, no warning, no dramatic scene where life taps you on the shoulder. It happens quietly, on a Tuesday morning or a Sunday night when everyone else seems perfectly fine, and you are sitting alone, staring at a number that should make you feel safe. Marcus was 32 years old. He made $100,000 a year. The apartment was real. The car was real. The vacations, 2 a year international, were real. $100,000. That is the finish line millions of people are running toward right now, working double shifts for, skipping holidays for, sacrificing years of their lives for. Marcus had crossed it, and he was standing on the other side of it, completely, utterly, silently broke. Not empty fridge broke, the most dangerous kind of broke, the kind that looks exactly like success from the outside. The most dangerous kind of broke has no visible signs. It wears the right clothes, it drives the right car, it posts the right photos, and it feels completely fine, until it doesn't. Then came the Friday evening that changed everything. His colleague Daniel announced early retirement at 45, not changing jobs, not downscaling, retiring permanently, with a smile Marcus had never seen on someone who still had bills to pay. Marcus shook Daniel's hand, laughed in all the right places, then drove home in his new car to his nice apartment and felt the floor disappear beneath him. Daniel did not earn more than Marcus. Everyone knew the salary bands. Daniel was not born into wealth. He had not won anything. But Daniel was leaving, and Marcus could not have left if he wanted to. So Marcus did what most people do when something does not add up. He worked harder, longer hours, extra projects. He told himself the answer to the leak was more water. Pour enough in and the bucket would fill. It did not fill, because Marcus was solving the wrong problem. He was measuring the wrong number. Here is what nobody told Marcus. Here is what nobody told you. Income is not wealth. They are not versions of the same thing. They are not even in the same conversation. Income is the water being poured into the bucket. Wealth is how much water is actually staying inside it. And Marcus, with his $100,000 salary and his beautiful life, had a bucket that was almost completely empty. Nobody had ever shown Marcus the one number, the single measurement, the financial scoreboard that the wealthy check every single month while everyone else checks their salary and wonders why they never feel ahead. Then came George, 61 years old, quiet, the kind of man who never talked about money at parties because he had never needed to prove anything to anyone. And one afternoon, over terrible office coffee, George put down his cup and asked 4 words, 4 simple words that Marcus had no answer for. Marcus opened his mouth and closed it. He had heard the term before. It belonged to billionaires, to Forbes lists, to a different category of person entirely, not to him. Except George was looking at him like it was the most important number in Marcus's life, like not knowing it was the reason the bucket was always empty. He did not sleep that night. He sat at his kitchen table with a piece of paper and a pen, and for the first time in his adult life, Marcus started to count what he actually had. Not what was coming in, what was staying, and what he found on that piece of paper changed everything. This is the moment most people never reach, the moment you stop looking at what flows in and start asking what actually stays. The question George asked Marcus is the same question being asked of you right now. What is your net worth? And could you answer it? The hole had always been there. Marcus had just never known where to look until now. 2 versions of Marcus, same salary, same life. The only difference, one of them finally decided to count. For the first time, Marcus was not looking at what had already happened. He was looking at what he could still build. George had been exactly where Marcus was standing, and he had lit the lamp not to show off, but to pass it on. The income game had cost Marcus years. The net worth game was about to give them back. The paper was blank, the columns were empty, and Marcus was about to meet himself, maybe for the first time. He picked up the pen and he started to count. Section 2. The number Marcus found on that paper and what it cost him to finally see it.
The piece of paper sat in the middle of Marcus's kitchen table like an unexploded device. He had been staring at it for 20 minutes, not because the math was complicated, because he was afraid of what the math was going to say. George had given him simple instructions. No books, no apps, no complicated frameworks, just this. Write down everything you own, write down everything you owe, subtract one from the other. Simple formula, 4 words, what you own minus what you owe. But here's the thing about simple formulas. They are only simple until you apply them to your own life. He started with what he owned, his assets. The apartment, he did not own it, he rented it. Beautiful, expensive, impressive at dinner parties, and contributing exactly 0 to his net worth. First punch. The car, he was financing it. $28,000 remaining on the loan. The car had value, yes, but the loan had more. Second punch. His bank account, $8,000. 3 months of careful saving, 2 months of lifestyle creep, 1 month of an international vacation that photographed beautifully and cost more than planned. His investment account, $4,500, started 2 years ago with genuine intention, added to sporadically, never prioritized, sitting there like a plant he kept forgetting to water. His total assets, $12,500 in real owned value when the numbers were honest. Then Marcus turned to the other column. Then Marcus wrote down what he owed, his liabilities, and this is where the paper stopped being just math and became something else entirely. Student loans, $30,000. The education that got him the $100,000 salary, still being paid for, still growing with interest in the background, like a fire he kept forgetting was burning. Car loan, $28,000 remaining. The beautiful, depreciating, value-destroying car that was costing him $28,000 and losing value every single month while he drove it. Credit card, $4,200. Not irresponsible spending, just life, just the gap between income and reality that gets quietly filled with plastic. Total liabilities, $62,200. Marcus stared at both numbers for a long time. Then he did the subtraction. $12,500 minus $62,200. He wrote the answer slowly. Negative $49,700. He put the pen down, he sat back, and the full weight of that number landed on him the way truth always lands when you have been running from it long enough. Not with noise, with silence. George had warned him, not cruelly, with the careful honesty of someone who understood that the truth, however brutal, was the only thing that could actually help. Most people never calculate their net worth because they are afraid of what they will find. But not knowing does not make the number better. It just means you're driving your entire financial life without a dashboard. Then George said something that stopped Marcus's breath. A homeless person who has nothing but the clothes on their back technically has a higher net worth than someone carrying $60,000 in debt. Marcus had laughed when George said it. He was not laughing now. But here's where the story changes. George had not sat down with Marcus to devastate him. George had sat down with Marcus to show him the scoreboard, because you cannot win a game you cannot see the score of. And now Marcus could see it. For the first time, clearly, honestly, without the comfortable fog of a good salary and a convincing lifestyle, Marcus could see exactly where he stood, and more importantly, which direction he needed to move. The wealthy do not just calculate this number. They use it as a weapon. They monitor it monthly. They make every financial decision by asking one question: does this grow my net worth or shrink it? Marcus picked up the pen, turned the paper over, and wrote 3 words at the top of the blank side. How to fight. 3 words written on the back of the paper that had just told him the most brutal truth of his financial life. And those 3 words changed everything that came next. The same piece of paper, 2 sides. One told him the truth, the other gave him the direction. For the first time, Marcus had both. George had not given Marcus a shortcut. He had given him something rarer, a scoreboard, and the knowledge how to read it. It was 11 p.m. at a kitchen table, with a piece of paper and a pen, and the most important financial education Marcus had ever received had cost him nothing but the courage to count. The negative $49,700 was not a verdict, it was a starting point, and starting points, no matter how painful, are where real stories begin. Same table, same night, same man, but the man on the right had something the man on the left did not. He had counted, and in counting, he had found the beginning of his way out. The formula was simple, the truth was hard, and the 3 steps that would change everything were waiting on the other side of the paper. Section 3. How Marcus used one number to fight back and win.
Marcus made his choice at 1:17 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. He was going to fight. Not harder. He had already tried harder. He was going to fight smarter, with the one number he had spent 32 years not knowing. Step 1. Measure it. Every single month, without exception. What doesn't get measured doesn't improve. The wealthy do not check their net worth once a year at tax time. They check it monthly, the way a pilot checks instruments. Marcus had been flying his entire financial life blind. Starting that Wednesday morning, that changed. He set a recurring date in his calendar. First of every month, non-negotiable, 30 minutes. The honest, ruthless calculation of everything owned minus everything owed. Not to punish himself, to navigate. Step 2, buy things that grow and do not sell them. The wealthy buy assets, stocks, property, businesses, and then they hold them. And while they hold, the assets grow, and the growth compounds. Compounding, given enough time, does something that no salary, no matter how large, can ever replicate on its own. This was the other game, the one Marcus had not known existed. Assets grow. Cars do not grow. Cars bleed. Marcus looked at his paper and drew a simple line. On the left, things growing his net worth. On the right, things bleeding it. The right side was longer. That was going to change. He thought about the $4,500 investment account he had opened with genuine intention and treated like an afterthought. That ended tonight. Step 3, accelerate toward debt freedom. Start with the smallest debt. Pay it off completely. Feel what that feels like, a liability disappearing from your list. Then take that momentum to the next one, and the next. Do not try to attack everything at once. That is how people burn out and give up and go back to the comfortable lie. Start with the smallest debt, pay it off, feel it disappear. Then the next one becomes easier to face. The credit card, $4,200, was the smallest. He could eliminate it in 4 months. If he stopped the international vacations, if he redirected the money funding the image into destroying the debt beneath it. 4 months. Then the student loans, then the car loan. Then, for the first time in his adult life, a liability column shrinking toward zero, while his asset column grew in the opposite direction. Then, George saved the most important lesson for last, the one that transformed net worth into a number, into a weapon. Net worth is not just a measurement, it is financial power. And financial power gives you something income alone never can: options. People with growing net worth can borrow against their assets without selling them, investors against their portfolios, homeowners against their equity, business owners against their companies, capital accessed without triggering a sale, without giving up the asset generating the growth. This is how many wealthy people actually live. They are not selling their wealth to fund their lifestyle. They are borrowing against it.
using that capital to acquire more assets, while what they own keeps growing. Marcus thought about Daniel, the colleague who had retired at 45 without extraordinary income. Daniel had not out-earned Marcus. Daniel had outbuilt him. Daniel had been playing a completely different game, the net worth game, while Marcus played the income game and wondered why the scoreboard never moved. 1 year later, same city, same job, same salary. The credit card gone. The investment account $18,000 and growing monthly. The student loan $19,000 remaining and dropping every month. Net worth still negative, but moving, visibly, measurably, undeniably moving in the right direction for the first time in Marcus's adult life, and that movement felt more like wealth than anything Marcus had ever purchased. Marcus folded the piece of paper, the devastating calculation on one side, the 3 steps on the other. He put it in his desk drawer, not to hide it, to keep it, because that piece of paper was the most valuable thing Marcus owned. Poor people work for income. The middle class works to pay off debt, but wealthy people build net worth because net worth opens the money doors. It gives you options when you need them, power when you want it, and freedom, real freedom, not the rented kind. Net worth opens the money doors. Marcus had found the door, and he had found the key, not from a finance degree, from a piece of paper, a kitchen table, and a man named George who asked 4 words. Your net worth is the scoreboard of your financial life. Most people never look at it. The wealthy never stop. The question is not whether the number exists. It does, right now, whether you know it or not. The question is, are you ready to count? Start today. The first calculation is the one that changes everything. Not the perfect calculation, not the comfortable one, the honest one.
Poor people work for income. The middle class works to pay off debt. Wealthy people build net worth. 3 scoreboards, 3 outcomes. The choice of which one to play has always been available. Every first of the month, 30 minutes. Everything owned minus everything owed. Not to punish himself, to navigate. Because navigation requires knowing where you are before you can plot where you are going. Wealth is not what flows in. Wealth is what stays, builds, and quietly works for you while you sleep. Your net worth, working for you while you rest. Marcus had not become wealthy overnight. He had done something harder. He had decided to become someone who builds net worth. And that decision, that quiet 1:17 a.m. decision, was where real wealth began. George never told Marcus it would be easy. He told him where to look. And looking, honestly, bravely, monthly, turned out to be enough to change everything. The question is not whether the number exists. It does. Right now, whether you know it or not. The question is, are you ready to count? Start today. The first calculation is the one that changes everything. Your net worth is waiting to be counted. The wealthy never stop looking at it. Now, neither will you.